What should business leaders be thinking about, worried about and excited about? I think thinking about it in sustainability, in particular around climate change, it is really serious. It's happening already now, and it is an existential threat to businesses around the world. And so it's something to be thinking about and worried about. But it's also something to be excited about, paradoxically, because if we get this right, this really is the investment opportunity of the century. It needs to be at the heart of every business model and at the heart of every business. If you think about the Paris Agreement that happened in 2015, it was extraordinary. It was a miracle. 196 heads of state all agreeing unanimously on a plan to fight climate change. And you ask yourself, how could that happen? It was businesses who were there in Paris putting pressure on policymakers. It was oil and gas senior executives on the front row cheering and applauding when the gavel went down. That's how you know this story has changed. If your business model depends on producing the fossil fuels that are largely responsible for this issue, then you're going to have to change your business model. And that's what oil and gas companies are already looking at now. But I'd also say that every single sector is dependent on the energy produced by those companies. So every single sector is dependent on making a successful energy transition. And then there's another important point to make about this. This transition is going to be bloody. There will be blood on the carpet. There will be winners and losers in every single sector. But if we don't deal with it, we all lose. So the important thing to do now, if you're a business, is to make sure that you're on the winner's side within your sector, to position yourselves now for how you can measure and monitor what you're at risk at and change your mindsets, and also make sure that you're looking for the opportunities that this transition will represent. If you think about resource efficient growth, that's a way of growing without wasting. Now, one of the things that climate change has helped expose in the world is the extent to which our business models in almost every sector are actually dependent upon waste. Now, that isn't a good way to do business. If you think about it, nature doesn't waste, not because nature's noble, but because nature isn't stupid. Because if you build your business around wasting resources, then in the end, you're going to go out of business. And so this has given us an opportunity to see how we can actually change the way that we do business. Look at waste in the different aspects of the supply chain and ways to change that. And I think also this extraordinary new movement around the circular economy. Starting at the beginning, thinking, when I'm designing a product, how can I design into it the possibility that it can continue in a circle, that you can reuse it, but also that you can reuse the components, that you're not just throwing them away. And that is a way to grow without wasting resources. And it's just smarter. The first thing that you need to do is you need to figure out how to measure your climate risk. And the second thing is you need to figure out how you're going to report it. And the third thing is you need to figure out how you're going to reward changes in that, look at your KPIs. And I think the fourth thing is you need to figure out how you're going to change the mindset and attitude of your company. Because it's a very big mental shift to go from sustainability and climate change being something in the corner to something at the heart. And that's probably one of the hardest things to do. What you have to do is open up the process, bring in different points of view, and make champions not just inside your organisation, but out there in the world as well. Now, one of the things about if you're a really big company is that in a time of great change, you have to have a flexible, dynamic, entrepreneurial mindset. And in a big company that's based all of its success on long-term, careful thinking, that can be extremely difficult. So if you think about where the answers are going to come from, some of the answers have to come from the big companies, but a lot of them, things we haven't even thought of, are going to come from dynamic, inventive, creative SMEs. And that, I think, is where the heart of the solution really is going to lie. Bottom line is that this gives us an opportunity to bring together the heart and the head. Bringing them together now is actually a superpower. If you bring passion and creativity to bear on the thing that your head is telling you you need to do, then that is the way to change the world. And this is giving us the opportunity to bring that into every boardroom in the world. We have to get away from the saints and sinners. Whose fault is it? Who can I blame? We are all in this together. And unless we have businesses across all sectors, investors, regulators, policymakers, NGOs, representatives from civil society, all putting their heads around the table and saying, how do we fix this? We won't get the right answer. But if we do make all those collaborations, if we do have all of those heads around the table, just think what else we can do with it. That is the way to do business in the 21st century.